Ratio and proportion word problems. All right, 6th grade. You did stuff like this. 2/3 is x over 15, and there's several ways to solve it. The answer is obviously 10. Then you got to 7th grade, and you had to do stuff like this. And it was a little tougher, but you think of this as 5 over 2 over 3 equals x over 1. Then you can cross multiply and divide, and it's actually not that tough, and I'm pretty sure you guys were pretty successful with these sorts of problems too. If you can make this jump, if you can make the jump from doing easy problems like this in 6th grade to tougher problems like this in 7th grade, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. It's tough, but you're gonna be okay. Let's get to work. Okay, question 1. 4 printers can print 60 booklets in 6 hours. Printing at the same rate, how many booklets can 5 printers print in 8 hours? Okay, this is how I would do it. There's several different ways to do it. So you want to have booklets per printer per hour. Booklets per printer per hour. So that's 60 booklets for 4 printers in 6 hours. And it's just like a normal ratio and proportion. I like hours on the bottom because that's how it typically is written, and booklets per printer makes sense to me. Okay, so that's a proportion because that's going to equal, they print at the same rate, 8 hours, we have 8 hours, and we want 5 printers. So x over 5 printers. So you can think of this as 60 over 4, or 60/4, or that equals 15. And this is x over 5, or x fifths, but it's pretty simple, because now we're just going to say, well, 15 over 6, because we can, 60 divided by 4 is 15, 15 over 6 equals x over 5 all over 8. Now let's just cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply here, you get 6x divided by 5. Cross multiply here, 8 times 15 is 120. Then we're going to multiply each side by 5. That'll be 600, and then these 5's cancel out, so 6x equals 600, so x is going to equal 100. We're going to do a couple of these. You're going to get good at them. We're good to go. Okay, question 2. This question might make you laugh, but it's okay. 4 chummies equal 5 cherries. 7 cherries equal 8 chuckies. How many chummies equal 80 chuckies? Okay. So let's do chummies, cherries, and chuckies. Okay, so chummies, we have 4 chummies is to 5 cherries, and we have 7 cherries is to 8 chuckies. So what we have to do is we have to figure out a way to relate chummies to chuckies, right? Because we want to know chummies per 80 chuckies. So we have to figure out chummies per chuckies. How do we get there? Well, let's build a bridge. Let's say, give a nice lowest common multiple there. So if 4 chummies equals 5 cherries, if 4 chummies equal 5 cherries, how many chummies are going to equal 35 cherries? Well, let's just think about this as a simple little proportion. That's times 7. Why did I have it times 7? Well, it'll be clear in a second if it isn't already. This is going to be 28 up here, because 5 times 7 gets you 35, so 4 times 7 will get you 28. Now, I chose this as 35 because it's an even number that'll work nicely, because 7 times 5 is 35. So how many, you set up another proportion here, right? So how many chuckies are to 35 cherries? Well, here's a nice little proportion. 7 times 5 gets you 35. 8 times 5 gets you 40. And all of a sudden you have that all-important chum to chuck knowledge. You have 28 chummies is to 40 chuckies, because they both equal 35 cherries. So that's good legal math. You use this guy here as a bridge. Thank you, guy. Nice bridge. Good working with you. And you don't want to know for 80 chuckies, well, 40 times 2 gets you 80. So 28 times 2 will get you your answer, and it's 56. We're going to do more of them. You're going to get it. We're going to be good. Okay, how people get to work in Center City. And you have this big circle here with all these percentages, and total population is 15,000. That seems like it might be important. How many people do not drive alone to get to work in Center City? So do not drive alone. So if 49% drive alone, how many don't drive alone, how much is all this together? Well, you know it's going to be out of 100%, right? Because the circle is full, so this has to be 51%. And you can just say 51% of this number here, and you can do the math if you want to do, 15,000 times 0.51. That's perfectly good, and it'll get you the right answer. Or you can just say 50% of this number is going to be 7,500, and 1% of this number is going to be 150, right? Because 1% is just moving 2 decimal points or taking away 2 zeros, that's 150, and half of 15 is 7.5. So half of 15,000 is 7,500, and you can just add 50% plus 1% to get you 51%, which is 7,650. We're good? Okay, question 4. A dress was originally offered for sale at X dollars, then was offered at 20% off the original price, then was offered at 30% off the first sale price. The customer who bought the dress paid 8.25% tax and paid with a $100 bill. Which expression below is equal to the change she received? So in all these you have 100 minus something, so that's going to be the change she received. How much did it cost her though? Well, if you have something that is on sale for X and then it's offered at 20% off, you're going to spend 0.8X on it. And if it's offered for 30% off of the sale price, off of the first sale price, that's 0.7 times 0.8. or 0.56x. So that's how much you have to pay. You have to pay 0.56x. And then you have to pay tax on top of that, which is equal to, you have to have 100% of this, so it's 1.0825. Because the tax is 825%, but you have to pay the whole amount and the tax. So you have 0.56 times 1.0825, throw an X in there and subtract it from 100 because that's the $100 bill and you're looking for the change, so we're good. Okay, question 5. A pizza was cut into 8 slices. Toby ate a fourth of the slices, then Gianni ate X over 6 of what was left. Okay, so you have 8 slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Toby ate a quarter of the slices, so Toby ate 2 of the slices. How many slices are left? 6 slices are left. Well, Gianni ate X over 6 of what was left. Which expression represents the number of slices left? Well, this can get kind of tricky. So if Gianni ate 1 slice, that would be 1/6. She would have eaten this slice. This is 1 if she ate 1 slice. So how many would be left? Well, 5 would be left, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If X equals 1, 5 are left. And what gives us that answer? B. So we're good. We like B. B makes sense. If she eats 1 slice, there's 5 left, and that makes sense for B. Let's see if it works for 2. If X equals 2, we'll say left is here 5. How many are going to be left? If X equals 2, if Gianni eats 1, 2, how many are left? 4 are left. So 4 are left. If Gianni eats 1, 2 slices, if she eats 2 over 6, 4 slices are left. Well, A, B again gives us that answer. That must be right. We're good to go. Question 6. Mia invested B dollars when she was 60 years old. By the time she was 80, the investment had grown to 8 times its initial value. Over the next 10 years, the investment lost 13.5% of its value, at which time Mia gave each one of her 4 daughters 1/4 of what was left. Which expression represents the difference between the amount each daughter received and the initial investment? Okay, so we have to find out how much each daughter received. And to do that, let's just start at the beginning. You invest B dollars, and then you have, in over 20 years, it grows to 8 times that, so you have 8B. Next, it loses 13.5%, which means the remaining amount is 8B times 0.865, right? Because that's like 86.5%. Which is 100% minus 13.5. Okay, so there we're good. Oh, wait, we have to divide that into fourths. So we want to, because at that time, each daughter, gets a fourth, so we want to have 8b times 0.865 divided by 4. That's as much as each daughter gets, and the question says which expression represents the difference between the amount each daughter received and the initial investment. So the initial investment again was B. Okay. This seems super scary, but it's really not. Simplify that. That 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have 2b times this number minus b. So 2b times this number is just this number twice. So don't get too scared of it. 0.865 times 2. 10, carry the 1. 13, carry the 1, 17. So it's 1.73b minus b, and b is equal to 1b, so our answer is C. And we're good. Question 7. A blue train travels from station A to station B at 60 miles per hour. So we have A to B, and we have traveling in that direction at 60 miles per hour. A red train travels from station B to station A at 80 miles per hour, and they are 70 miles apart. How many miles from station B, so how many miles from station B will the two trains pass? Okay, so let's just do this, start from the very beginning of ratios and proportions and just do parts to whole. Ratios and proportions get confusing with percents and word problems and all the rest of it, but let's just do part per whole. How fast are both trains traveling together? Well, if I go this way 60 and that guy goes that way 80, together as a whole, it's like we're traveling 140 miles an hour. And how fast is train B traveling out of that a whole 140 miles per hour? Well, train B is doing its part at traveling 80 miles out of the 140. Together they're going 140 because 80 plus 60 equals 140, and you just think about this distance being closed, from both ends being closed at a rate of 140 miles per hour, and the part of that whole that B is doing is 80 miles per hour. And how far is the whole distance? 70. So what is the part that train B is going to close? How far from station B are the trains going to pass? Well, what's the part of the train that starts at station B? Well, 140 divided by 2 is 70, so 80 divided by 2 will give us our missing value, and that's going to be 40. And we're good. Okay, question 8. A pink train travels from station C to station D at 50 miles per hour. A green train travels from station D to station C along a parallel track. The stations are 90 miles apart, and the trains pass 30 miles from station C. Okay, how fast was the green train traveling? How fast was the green train traveling? Well, again, we're just going to do part per whole. We need to know how fast both trains were traveling in order to find out how fast the green train starting at station D was going. So it's kind of a two-stepper, but we can do this. Okay. So first, for the pink train starting at station C, what parts of the journey did they do? They did a 30 miles out of 90. Train C did 30 miles out of 90. And how fast were they going? How fast were they going? They were going 50 miles per hour. So what was the whole speed of both trains traveling together? You can simplify this to 1/3, and that's 5 over 15, or 5 over 150. You can cross multiply if you need to, but 150 is going to be the whole speed. 150 is going to be the whole speed. Think about it. If this guy traveled 30 out of 90, they're traveled 1/3 of the distance. Their speed must be 1/3 of the speed. The total speed of both trains together was 150. So what speed did the green train, sorry, what speed did the green train starting at station D have? Well, if they both together were 150, then the green train by itself would be at 100. And we're good. Question 9. 5 gardeners can plant 40 rose bushes in 3 hours. So let's do bushes per gardeners per hours. Planting at the same rate. Well, let's just write it down first. We have 40 bushes planted by 5 gardeners in 3 hours. Planting at the same rate, how many rose bushes can 6 gardeners, so this is going to equal bushes per 6 gardeners, plant in 2 hours? Again, let's just simplify it and work it through. We're going to be fine. So 40 divided by 5 is 8, so 8 over 3 equals x over 6 over 2. Let's cross multiply, so we have 3x over 6 equals 16, right? Because you cross multiply there, you get 3x over 6. Cross multiply there, you get 16. 3x over 6 is the same as x over 2, like 1/2 x, right? Equals 16, because 3 divided by 6 is, 1/2. So multiply each side by 2, and we're good to go. Okay, question 10. 7 Ronnies equal 4 Sammys, 3 Sammys equal 5 Tonys. How many Ronnies equal 80 Tonys? Okay, so we have Ronnies, we have Sammys and Tonys, we have 7 Ronnies equal 4 Sammys, and we have 3 Sammys equal 5 Tonys. And what we need to do is we need to figure out how many Ronnies per Tony, and then we can figure out how many Ronnies per 80 Tonys. Okay, so let's get another lowest common multiple of 4 and 3 of these guys here. This will be our bridge. Let's choose 12. 4 times 3 gets me 12, so I'm going to multiply 7 times 3. I'm going to get 21. And this is just another old proportion here. We're going to do another old proportion here. 3 times 4 gets me 12, so I'm going to multiply 5 times 4. I'm going to get 20, and there I have it. I have R to T is 20 to 20, 21 to 20. So R to T is 21 to 20. So if I want to solve for 80 Tonys down here, I am, in good shape because 20 times 4 gets me 80. So I'm going to multiply 21 times 4, and I'm going to get 84. And we're good.